Okay, we're live.
Happy Monday night, everybody.
Yeah.
You could.
Let's have some fun, huh?
Good evening.
You could be watching Trevor Rogers battle Corbin Burns tonight, but you're in a better place listening to us.
I was just offered. I can't stop, Andrew. I'm sorry. I'll just be a second.
Okay.
I was just offered Kopech and Philly's number 2 starter from the Mets.
Wheeler.
Stroman?
I was
Wheeler.
Kopech and Wheeler for Trevor Rogers.
Wow.
Okay.
That seems like, I mean, I like Rogers a lot, but that seems like a lot.
So Kopech's not staying in the rotation for now.
That's my issue. Yeah, that's right. Rogers is better than Wheeler right now.
Yeah.
What would you do, Malf? How would you take that trade? That's kind of an interesting trade because Wheeler is.
Who would you drop as a pitcher to add to? You'd lose
Maybe,
one, right?
I would probably drop. I'd have to go look. Maybe Mike Minor. I don't know. I'd have to look.
I mean, Kopech is not going to be in the rotation.
I might do that, depending on who you would drop.
So you think that Wheeler's better than Rogers?
No, I think Rogers is better than Wheeler right now.
Well, it would have to really be based on just those two because Kopech isn't really going to do much for you right now. Like, this is just how I would look at it, like weighing my options.
It is.
There is absolutely reason for both sides, whether you take Wheeler over Rogers or Rogers. I would say that in Wheeler's favor is his experience and his, ability to throw 200 innings.
Probably a better team.
Is this a keeper league or a one-year deal?
Keeper league.
Oh, how many keepers do you get?
I can keep 8 keepers next year.
Oh,
it's mixed league.
Man, that's
who do you like best?
Well, I mean, I probably wouldn't take the trade. I really like Rogers, but the interesting thing to me is that Rogers was like a 320th pick in the draft. He was way late, and in 1 month, you can turn him into one of the game's top prospects and a pretty good pitcher in Zach Wheeler. Probably going up the pecking order preseason, 150 spots. That's pretty good. And Trevor Rogers right now is pitching better than he probably will finish.
I think I'm selling high, Doug, because
that's what I'm saying.
I think Rogers, he does look terrific, but he's going to pitch fewer innings than Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it should. I don't know how many fewer.
I would do that trade. I would do that trade, but not knowing the rest of your team. I love guys like Kopech that are those middle reliever type guys this year that get a lot of strikeouts. I love those guys.
So you're saying Kopech's not in the rotation?
With 8 keepers, I don't know if Kopech is actually, depending on how good your team is, that'd be a tough keep sometimes.
But he will be sooner than later. He will be in the rotation, just not now and not for like the next month or so, at least, because Tony La Russa was saying just today that he did not have a place for Kopech in the rotation. It was just because it was based on circumstance. So,
yeah, but
I love seeing him in there though, and he pitched so good.
If you got Carlos Rodon and Dylan Cease,
when did Rodon ever pitch?
Doing some backwards math, you're gonna get Kopech's he's gonna get his innings.
Yeah, Mal Powell's right about that.
Yes, definitely.
And Dallas Keuchel, Kopech might be the best arm or the second best arm on the squad after Giolito.
How many innings has Kopech pitched this year?
Like not 20, many. If that, 15.
I'm looking it up right now.
Trevor Rogers is what I have pulled up right now.
So he's giving me the trade is I mistook this. The trade is Justin Upton, Michael Kopech, and Zach Wheeler for Trevor Rogers and Andrew McCutchen.
That doesn't really change it too much.
Well, I mean, if you just take that other part, I'd rather McCutchen than Upton, so it improves it a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Why though? I guess I know. Never mind. You don't have to tell me why.
I actually, this was my show this weekend. I actually said I think Upton's a buy, but I actually don't think, you say about innings pitched. It's like I think McCutchen will play more games than Upton.
Okay, but going back.
Yeah, let me answer now, pal. Kopech has pitched 15.2 innings, and has 27 strikeouts and 4 walks.
Love it. His strikeouts.
And how many does Mike Minor have?
Mike Minor
is the guy you dump.
I don't have to dump a pitcher. I can dump somebody off, a hitter off my bench. All I have to do is stay within the roster.
Okay, listen to me here. Trevor Rogers, the Miami starting pitcher, he never played at AAA. Then he was in the majors last year. He only pitched 28 innings, okay, all season. So to think, and he's never pitched more than, well, he actually in 2019 he pitched like 130 innings. So, but Kopech, same thing, coming back from surgery. But I do not see Trevor Rogers stayed in the rotation like all year long, because are they really going to like wreck his arm? They can't win. So I don't know. Like, I don't see that. I really think that
I look at it this way, to be real simple. Do you think 100 innings of Kopech will outperform 150 innings of Mike Minor? I personally think he will. So I would do the trade. Really?
Yeah, it's closer than you think.
I can drop Framber Valdez, who I'm sitting.
Hello? Yeah, you should.
I can drop Framber Valdez.
Framber Valdez, according to Twitter reports, is pitching from a mound now, which means he's probably less than 2 weeks away. Just so you know.
Okay. Hold on a second. I mean, never mind. Go ahead.
Zach Wheeler's last 7 days is 5 2-point innings, and ERA of 6.35 and a WHIP of 1.141.
Well, but you can't really, with a guy like Wheeler, you can't really take just a couple weeks and say that that's what he's going to do. When I just feel like there's much more that you can base his general performance on, unless he's hurt, of course, but I don't think he is. He goes deep into games. He pitches a lot of innings, and he's reliable. But remember when he didn't used to be reliable? I remember when he didn't. But Trevor Rogers, he's 23 years old, so this is, keeping him is great and all. But I would absolutely trade high on this, dude. Trade high.
That's what I'm thinking. I love Trevor Rogers. By the way, Upton's hitting 242 with 11 runs batted in.
Forget Upton. Tell him you don't want anybody. Just it's Zach Wheeler for Trevor Rogers. That's what you do.
I don't want to make a counter.
And Kopech.
This guy pulls them all the time.
He
will pull his trade back within 10 minutes. He does it all the time. I'm going to take it. I can dump Upton if I don't want him. I don't give a rip about McCutchen. McCutchen is hitting 154 with 6 RBIs.
Okay.
Yeah, Upton's having a better year for sure this year.
You can pull your trades back.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just interrupting you.
Is there an innings limit in your league?
You have to have 950. There's an innings minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But Wheeler will pitch more innings. Yeah.
I mean, taking on Kopech, would that jeopardize you getting the innings pitched?
No, because I can stash him, pal. Wheeler will pitch more innings, in my opinion, than Taylor Rogers over the season.
For sure, dude. No question.
I'm helping my inning minimum.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for distracting you.
No, I love to talk the trades. I think they're fun. You guys should always bring them up when you have trade offers on the table. Do any of you guys have?
I just accepted it, by the way.
Okay, good job, Mitchell.
No.
I won't have any trades out there.
Okay.
I talked about one trade this year, which is my one for the year.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You only allow yourself one trade?
No, they just don't happen. I can't seem to ever make one that makes sense.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about, let's first start off talking about the fact that Mike Trout was out all weekend, but he is absolutely, can we agree he's the #1 player still so far? Mike Trout.
So far, I don't know.
Yeah, like so far, he's still the #1 player in baseball.
Well, I'd say Acuna until he got this abdominal. Acuna was tearing it up.
Yeah, I think that Ronald Acuna still statistically is ahead of Trout by a little bit, but they're very. I was saying that going into the season, they're 1-2, and I would take Acuna ahead of Trout just because of stolen bases, and that is the thing. So far, Trout hasn't stolen a base. That's probably the difference in that in their outcomes.
Sure. I was mentioning it because at one time, just about 4 days ago, we were talking. Lenny and I were talking about all the injuries that are occurring for the first round players. Acuna, Tatis has had his struggles too. We'll talk about him in a minute. Yelich is out. Bellinger is out. It was like, there we go. Mike Trout, healthy again, as always. And then he got hurt, so he was out all weekend, but he's back in the lineup today. We love it. What about Tatis stealing signs? So first of all, let me just give some credit to Bauer because he's the coolest person ever. I just really love that he accepts when people hit home runs, and he does not care if you celebrate because you had success and you should celebrate. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Bauer came out and graded all of Fernando Tatis's, strutting and stuff, like his Conor McGregor walk, and like he was just giving him shit about that. So then
Bauer was great. I thought Bauer was great about this. Just joke around. Everybody's taking everything too seriously.
But then in the second half of the video, Bauer goes in to explain how Tatis hit a home run on a pitch that was like way outside. I mean, Bauer had been pitching outside to Tatis all night. So, and last time he faced him too, he pitched outside. So you don't really have to steal a sign to know that he's going to continue pitching outside. But the thing is that you can see in the video that he glances down, but what the hell, if the catcher shows what he's doing, he basically understood because the catcher was doing like the movement to the outside. You should never do that. You need to like upgrade your signs a little bit if Tatis is looking. Do you guys, this is an unwritten rule in baseball apparently, that if you get caught like spying on the catcher signs, then they'll hit you with the pitch or whatever. So Douglas, what's up? What do you think about this whole thing?
I didn't see it happen. I read about it. Seems like it made a lot of people very angry.
Watch the video. You can see the video. You can actually watch it.
I do know about I played catcher for years in high school, so I do know about the unwritten rule, but it does sort of happen. It happens. I mean, it does happen naturally. I don't know how. I mean, it's pretty amazing if someone can look down. There's got to be more to it than them looking down in a split second, knowing that it's a changeup or a fastball. Because even though
they go like this and they do this, they put their fingers this way.
I'm saying that the signals always change. The signals change game to game. They sometimes change a few times throughout the thing. There would have to be pre-work for Tatis to be able to look down for a second and know the pitch.
If you would watch the video, okay, then you can actually see it for yourself, which is always the best way to go about something, is to look at it for yourself. So, Mitchell, did you watch, or did you just see Dave Roberts and what hit the? You put Roberts' name in that when
Davey Roberts. I read a report of it, Andrea. I didn't see it.
Oh, come on, you too?
I didn't see it.
No, well, you don't. So I put the link to the video in the rundown, but I understand I put it up really late today. But anyway, did anybody, Malpel, did you see what happened?
Yeah, but who complained? Did Roberts say something?
No, Roberts didn't even know about it. Bauer's the one that brought it up on his. Hold on a second.
Or at least
I want to show you. Let me try to do something real quick.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to share my screen with you guys.
I read a report that Roberts accused Tatis of stealing signs.
He didn't even know about it. Bauer's the one that put it out first, and then the reporter asked Roberts about it, and Roberts was like, "I don't really know it. I don't really know anything about it, so I'll have to look into it. I have a lot of respect for Tatis, but that's just not the way you play the game." If he was in fact
okay, all right.
Stealing.
Now Tatis hit a pitch.
Hold on, can you see?
Over here in a 3-2 count that was moving this way.
Can you hear?
Out of the stadium.
Yeah.
We're going to zoom in and we're going to show you exactly how that happened. So here we are. Will's giving the sign. You can see he's giving that sign. His hands over here. Let's look at me for a second. So as soon as I move my hands, so here I'm getting the sign. Tatis is looking at me. As soon as I move my hands, indicating that I got the sign, okay, I've just moved my hands. We're going to look at Tatis's head right here. And he's going to look down and he's going to check, and he sees Will moving this way. Look at that. Okay. Checks. Will is sliding to the outside. As soon as he sees Will sliding to the outside, he gets his motion right there. Tatis' head comes right back up, looks back at me, and now he knows that this pitch is going to be outside, away. So let's check what happens with his body language. Okay, here comes the pitch. Now watch him. All of his motion starts coming this way because he knows it's going to be away because he just looked at the sign right here. You can already see he's leaning. You can see the draw line, so you can see it here. Now this is him straight up. Okay, here's where he is. Right there. Now watch his body. Starts to lean. The whole shoulders close. Step goes across this way. Body's going out this way. And he's able to go out and pull a pitch. It's way off the plate to left field. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to look at the catcher's signs, you know, right there's that head move. Checking the catcher's signs, checking the location.
So what?
Do that,
so what if he does?
Celebrate it. I mean, you gotta. That's tough. That's tough. Either be good enough to not have to look at the signs, and then you can celebrate. Or if you do have to look at the signs, I don't know about the celebration, man, because like, it's a tough one. Now this brings up the question of unwritten rules, and.
Didn't he just show that he didn't look at the sign?
Am I mad about the celebrations and the bat flips and all that stuff? No. However, if you start looking at signs, if you start pulling this like Bush League stuff, that's when people get pissed off. I mean, a lot of people get pissed off.
I think people are just getting pissed off for the sake of getting pissed off.
Who is this?
It's Bauer.
That's the type of stuff that would get you hit in other games. Now, I'm mild-mannered about it. And, you know, I'm not going to do – I'm going to send a message more this way and say, hey, that's not okay. If you keep doing it, something will have to happen. But baseball policing itself, this is where it would happen because there's no – if Tatis is just looking at Will right here, he could just very easily be in the box and just look back at Will. And then Will can't give the signs, and then the game just doesn't go anywhere. But there's no rule that says that he can't look back. And so there's just no real remedy for – the catcher and the pitcher to use to counteract someone looking back at the signs. So the remedy is if you look back at the signs, that's fine. And there's no rule that says I can't stick a fastball in your ribs.
Okay. I just hate this. I just can't stand it. Okay. You guys.
I agree with Bauer. Here's what
didn't the thing right at the very beginning say he got the signs and now for Tatis looks at the catcher. So he's basically saying unequivocally that he did not steal signs. What he saw was the motion of the catcher, which you're allowed to see. It's the catcher's fault for being obvious.
I agree with Doug. That's exactly what I was going to say. Your signal to the pitcher, you're sticking all these fingers down, and you're telling the pitcher to throw outside. You don't move until the pitcher starts his windup. The catcher should not have moved before Bauer was ready to release the ball. This moving outside is between Bauer and the catcher.
Okay. And yes.
You don't know what could happen there. Like I don't know what he had, but I know when I caught, I had a neck guard. My neck guard could have hit something making a noise, which made a person instinctively look at the noise.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this may not be some great thing. He had a home run off the guy, and I think there's a lot of real. I mean. I told you that earlier this season that people were ticked off at Tatis just for signing his contract. There's a good 1 in 3 people out there that are looking for a reason to be mad at baseball players.
My point is, I don't really like what Bauer's doing here. I really appreciated him for being like, hey, you know, talking shit is great. If you are really good, you should be proud of that. And then he turns around and he's like making a big thing about Tatis. Just where's he supposed to look? He's allowed to look down. That's the thing.
He did look down at the signs.
So what?
No, he didn't look at the signs. He looked at the catcher.
What are you supposed to do?
He was looking at his fingers. He looked down.
I'd like to know,
that's our conjecture.
If the catcher is putting and doing
signs, given.
If the catcher,
according to that video, the signs were already given. It was the motion that he did. He moved over.
Exactly. So if
well, the catcher moved too fast then.
Because the video starts with, all right, the pitcher is relaxed here because he's already got the signs. Then Tatis looks down.
It doesn't matter. He's allowed to look down. I don't care. You're not if you can't fake out the batters, then you have a problem. You need to fix your signs. And
I don't know of any rule that says where you can look while you're standing up there.
There's no. He just said there's.
No, it's an unwritten rule.
You know what? Unwritten rules suck in baseball.
Well, this one is. I mean, like. It's like we can kind of live with the idea that if a runner's on second base, he's going to inadvertently see the signs. But you wouldn't want every batter to be staring at the catcher's crotch.
Well, if he's staring at the catcher's crotch, then he's not going to see what pitch is thrown at him. And I guess he probably won't be hitting the ball then if he's not looking at the
Well, he would look when the pitch is coming. But, we all know there's all that time beforehand.
Well, then they're taking too long. And Bauer even said in the video that when he moved his hand, that's when Tatis looked down at the catcher, what he was doing, because that's when he knew that the catcher was giving his sign. Well, that's Bauer and Will Smith's fault, right? I'm sorry. That's just, I do not find it. And Tatis is so bad at defense, though. I want to bring this up because it is unbelievable how bad he is, okay? He's so bad. I think he has the second worst defense in history, in MLB history, after 15 games, and that no Major League Baseball player has ever been this bad defensively after 15 games. Tatis Jr. is a negative 50 UZR or D, whatever.
He's bad. There's no debating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So, but what do you think though? There's no DH in the National League, so his hitting is going to have to be super good to keep him in the lineup at shortstop. Shortstop is a really hard position, and you can't be making so many errors. Malpal, I want to get your take on this because this is your team here that we're talking about, so you know everything about San Diego. Shoot.
I think he'll be fine. Remember last week I talked to you about this guy plays with reckless abandon. He makes a lot of stupid plays. They're not physical. A lot of these things are mental. He's trying to, like on double play balls, he's trying to rush a throw first. Air mails it or throws it in the dirt when the ball should have never been thrown. He's trying to make stuff happen on defense. From the errors I've seen, I haven't seen all of them. So I mean, he's athletic. He's got a great arm.
Yeah,
he can cover a ton of range. I think he's just a young guy. He's a young player that's super aggressive and
playing
he's
with
just trying to find his
abandon.
way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just the way he is. So you see him swing. He comes out of his shoes. He's kind of an all or nothing player right now. He hits the ball really hard when he hits it, but he strikes out a lot too. So he's an aggressive player. I'm not saying he won't cost him more games. Long run, I think he's fine. I'm not sure. There's been some talk moving to third and Machado to short, but that's not going to happen. You're not going to pay him $350 million to play third base. They already got a $300 million third baseman. So,
Douglas and Mitchell, were you able to watch any of these games with the Dodgers and the Padres yet? Because I know we're here on the East Coast. People go to bed at a normal hour, and these games are on until like 1:30, 2 in the morning.
I watched them. Yeah, and I watched all of them.
I did go to bed before the game was over in the extra inning game. I fell asleep, during the game, but I did watch it up to that point, so I did see a good portion of it.
I'll have to. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that one thing Bauer also said was that, baseball, these games have been very good to watch. And I admit a lot of times I don't really sit and watch games because I don't think my attention span is good. Like, I think I'm probably like a lot of people in that it's too slow. You have other things going on. You can get like a condensed game afterwards. So I don't spend a lot of time watching, but these games so far this year, I don't remember any games being this good that weren't playoff games. Yes. Yeah. I mean, these are games that are like playoffs, and you give the fans what they want, they will stay and they will watch it. It's great baseball, lots of celebrating, lots of competition. Like just the attitude is just really spectacular. I wish all the games were like that.
I have to say this. Mark Melancon may crash any day now, but man, that guy's goddamn nerves of steel. He was on the ropes last night.
He's very confident.
Huh?
He's got so much confidence, right? You could see it in him.
I was going to. We didn't get around to it in the things we were going to talk about last week. I was going to say, I think I was wrong about Melancon. I do still believe he's not the best relief pitcher on that team. But
who is?
But he pick any of the other four, any of the other five. I don't really care. It's like I would Keela Pomerantz, Pagan. But what he did is this. He's smart. He is not striking out as many people as he was a couple of years ago, and he's only 4 years separated from these incredibly dominating 51 save seasons, where and then the next year he signed the contract and things just fell apart. And he went to San Francisco and he was horrible. And then he sort of salvaged something last year. And what he has done is this, and this is what I give respect for, is he knows the one pitch that worked really well for him 4 or 5 years ago was his fastball, which hasn't been working for him. You know how many fastballs he's thrown this year? None.
Well, good. He's now learning how to get old.
Yeah. So his strikeout rate's down, but his hard hit rate is down too. And so it's come around. He's a passable relief pitcher, and in this day and age of statistics, he's good enough to be the closer. He is good enough, even though these other guys might be better. It's probably a good situation. People say it all the time that you should have your better pitchers pitch in the higher leverage situations earlier.
First of all,
so it's good for the Padres, but he's a quality closer. He's a quality closer, but he's not the kind of guy that, based on what you see in his stuff, you would not normally want this guy to come in with a runner on second base.
If you had a choice between the pitchers that you named and Mark Melancon, and you put all their numbers up and you couldn't see anybody's names, you would choose Mark Melancon 7 days out of 7.
This year, sure.
Well, what are we talking about?
No. But we're talking about 9 appearances. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter. Look at his history. That's what I'm talking about. If you put statistics, I'm talking about their career.
You put his stats from 2018.
Career
statistics. You would be fired for being the guy putting Melancon in. You know, that's how bad he was.
Emilio Pagan, dude? Is people talking about how good Emilio Pagan is, and he has not been good at all since he came to San Diego at all.
Yeah, that has been an odd situation, but he's been bad for less time than Melancon has been bad in his career.
Oh, okay. All right. So that makes
because Melancon was bad for 2.5 years. Okay. Literally the entire Giants contract, he was awful.
Melancon's a great guy, and I have a bias towards him because I like him. So I could be blinded by his.
No, I'm saying that I give him credit for realizing his fastball hasn't been getting people out for 4 years. He stopped throwing it last year.
I'm glad he stopped.
He got it down to about 11%. This year, it's gone.
He looks like he's getting a good drop.
That's what he's doing. He's throwing a cut fastball and he's throwing a hard sinker. That's what's replaced it. And I go, and that's the kind of thing. Like if you can see something in the stats that say he's understood something, he's changed something, you go, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
I like pitchers who can make adjustments like that.
You have to, as you get old, you have to learn to make adjustments. Look at Felix Hernandez. He did not make adjustments well. But, look at some other older pitchers that are making adjustments well, like Verlander and Lance Lynn and all of these guys. So, okay, well, hold on.
Can I ask a trivia question?
Okay, trivia.
Who has the most strikeouts in the American League and the lowest ERA as a starter?
In the American League.
In the American League.
I don't know, but
Carlos Rodon?
No, throw out a name.
Joe Ross had something. No, okay, I won't say.
I know Carlos Rodon had the no-hitter, so I'm going to throw his name out. I know he's way down there.
Means.
John Means. 0.90.
He's got more strikeouts than Shane Bieber. I can't believe that.
Anyway, okay, yeah. I mean, I could have got the National League easy, dude.
American League is tougher. I've liked Means for a number of years. That he has a great changeup. It's one of the best pitches in baseball.
Hi,
I've been saying that for 3 years.
George is here. Look,
now George. Last year he was able to get some extra speed on his fastball, which made his changeup even better. So now he looks like a phenomenal pitcher. I still worry about any Orioles pitcher, but Means has been good enough to overcome that. Yeah. He could pull off one of those, 1972 Steve Carlton deals where he wins a lot of games and they only win 5 more.
Right. George, good show last night, bud.
Yay, George. I really miss George on Saturdays, and I really hate the fact that he has to go to work because I Love having him in the chat.
I'll put it up here because Mitch
Saturday baseball
says Tatis is weak on defense. Can I say something about the defense on Tatis? I didn't chime in. It's like we've been seeing this thing with these young guys where they're skipping the minor leagues and coming to the majors, and we love to see them hit.
Yeah.
But that's years not in the minors learning to play defense. There's a good chance he could figure it out along the way.
I don't know, man. Is defense something you could really teach somebody that they
it's something you do by repetition?
Are you sure? Some people just don't have range. I mean,
there is that. There is that.
Yoga. Some people need yoga.
Some people could not ever play shortstop. That's true. But if you're of that, but we would not. I don't think any of us would say Tatis is not in that group. But coming up at age 20 or 21, he probably saw, something like 500 less ground balls than he would have seen if at a very high level than he would have had he played in the minors. And I think we're better off having him play. I think he can get better as a fielder because of that.
Okay, he can get better. That's very true. We're being harsh on him because I just think it all comes down to the fact that he plays with reckless abandonment. That's all there is to it. He plays like a youngster plays where they don't even know, like when a puppy, they hit the wooden floor, or like the tile or whatever, and they slide all the way. They don't know like when to put the brakes on, so they run into the wall, or like just that's kind of how it is. Just as you get older, you start to learn the things not to do. Like Bryce Harper is starting to figure out how to not get hurt now, I could see. But on the other hand, some players, I do think Tatis is going to be able to be just fine at shortstop. I think he's great for baseball. I love the celebrating. I just think it's great that it just brings so much fun. And Bauer, whether you like him or not, he absolutely is good for baseball. So one other thing, Springer is coming back tomorrow. Yay for me. I won't get to put him in my lineup tomorrow, but I will be able to put him in the next day, and I'm very happy. Rendon is coming back too. I don't have Rendon, but just in case you do out there. And Trey Turner left the game yesterday, so Trey Turner is somebody to watch tomorrow because he does not play today. Nobody plays on Washington today, so watch him tomorrow to see what's going on. And then how long do you leave some of these guys in your active roster? What do you do with guys that are not droppable at this point? Do you bench these guys? I mean, I listed some players here, but they're mostly my players because they come first on my list. Luis Castillo should be talked about first, actually, because he has allowed at least 4 runs. Okay, in 3 of his 5 starts, he has a horrible ERA. His velocity is down. I mean, do you bench him?
Andy, don't worry about Castillo. When the temperature hits 90, he'll hit 100.
Should I bench him or should I leave him in my active?
You bench him.
I think I was looking at the thing. He's one of those guys that people always like more than I do, so he actually is not in my field of vision because he's always drafted about. So I looked at his stuff, and a couple things came to mind. One is in those other 2 starts, he let up 1 earned run. So he seems to be doing this thing where he's making a little thing, he's making adjustments, getting a little better, but then it reverts.
Yeah, yep.
It reverts. So I think that if you do that on off, the next start is supposed to be his good one. But the other thing is that in his career, his worst month for ERA has been March, April, and his best month for ERA has been May.
That's great.
Okay. Sorry, that's wrong. His second best month for ERA has been May. His best month for ERA has been September. So he always does this great job at the end of the year that makes us want him next year so much.
What's his ERA in March and April?
I have it written down here. I just have to get to that page.
Okay, no problem. But I'm glad you looked that up because some player, maybe we never scrutinized him before because we never really thought that he was going to be an ace. Like
his April ERA career wise is 4.58. His May is 3.6. In September, it's 2.49.
Okay, Douglas, what about his splits? Is he better on the road than at home?
He's not having better road trips. He's better.
Well, the 2 good games have both been at home this year, but it's 2 games. What can you read from that?
Because Pablo Lopez is great at home.
Some pitchers
gets hit on the road.
I don't think that there's many pitchers that, I mean, like Kyle Hendricks being good in Wrigley is an anomaly. I don't think there's any pitcher that'll be better in Great American Ballpark.
Okay, if you scroll down the rundown, you could see the standings all the way at the bottom. I mean, I didn't know if you guys, I don't know, I put notes in here. I could do those on a separate sheet in the future if you want. I didn't know if they were helpful to you guys, but the standings are in there. And Cincinnati now has lost in a row, 7 games in a row. So they're really on a horrible streak right now after starting off really good. But Mitchell brought up, we could talk about some of these teams that are surprising so far, like the fact that we were off so much going into the season. But every year we're off on at least a couple teams. I mean, that's just how baseball is. But the Pirates he brought up, and who's the other team you brought up?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay. Kansas City is leading the American League Central right now. I'm so surprised to see the White Sox in second. Okay. And Minnesota all the way down in 4th out of 5th. They're tied with Detroit with 7 wins. The White Sox have been horrible. Maybe
you're not getting hitting. Moncada's still barely above the Mendoza line.
Have you saw some life out of a Bray with his feet.
Lewis Robert a half a dozen times all year long.
Dude,
Lewis Robert's one of their better hitters, actually.
I understand. Have you heard his name? I understand he's doing all right. I'm not going.
The other guys are doing so much more poorly.
Doug, he's not doing what we thought he was going to do.
Who on that team outside of Tim Anderson is batting wise?
So Moncada's batting 250 now. That's all I got to say about him.
Well, he had a better weekend. That's true.
Yes, thank goodness.
Matt Hooper said he's going to the Kansas City game tomorrow. There's some people out in the chat room. That's all.
All right, for Luis Castillo, Malpal, what are you doing? Obviously you're not dropping him at this moment. It's very important to make sure that is clear. We are not dropping Luis Castillo at the moment. But do you keep him active? Do you let him just keep going out there and expect like you would before?
Yes. I mean, if you're investing him, you'd have to get him in the 2nd or 3rd round, right?
Yes.
To get him this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
You kind of invest in that. You're playing, is it worse? Let me ask you this. Is it from an owner in your brain? Is it worse to have a guy in there giving up 6 runs per 9 innings, or to sit the guy and then sit here and watch him throw a shutout when he's on your bench? What's the worst feeling?
And what are the chances of either of those happening? I say that the chances of him throwing a shutout are much higher than the chances of him being. But it depends on your league, because if you're in a points league and you get negative points.
My point is, if you invest in a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'm like Douglas. Yeah. I have very little Castillo because I just don't like Reds pitching. I think it's terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would draft him if he was like available in the 5th or 6th round. But he's kind of been so early.
Seems to be unlucky so far. I was just looking at a few things like Douglas was looking at. Half his base runners are scoring. He's got like 50% strand rate. That's awful.
Yeah,
that's.
What about his velocity?
League average.
His velocity has been moving, even though it is down, but it's been getting better every game by a little bit.
Okay, that's good to know. But
he's still he's still getting over league average of swing and miss. It's like 12% of his pitches are swing and miss. And he's got decent command. So it's cold, and his worst months are March and April.
He has decent command, you say?
I think it's decent. The velocity's down, but
what's the command stat that you use? What do you use for command? If you're looking at stats,
write it down.
Well, how do you know what stat to look at for command? Because you said
I'd have to look it up.
That's actually a tough one to say, because just because you throw a ball doesn't mean it's a bad pitch.
I just wondered, because I could tell that Malpal was looking at his stats, and I was just wondering which one he was looking at to say command. I don't need the exact command, but like you can tell command based on
number of strikes,
number of
balls. That'd be number of walks. Would be another one. Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
His home runs are way up.
What I look for, though, a simple command thing that I look for is first pitch strike.
Okay.
Because I'm like Greg Maddux, like he's the greatest pitcher that I've ever seen. It's like over 60%. That's elite. Yeah. So he can command the ball. He's getting his swing and misses. He's over 11%.
But he was at 15% last year. He's above league average, but he's not where he needs to be.
It's down for sure. Right.
Okay,
it's down for sure. And what is causing that? It's either an injury or he's a slow starter or he's unlucky. So I don't think we know the answer to any of those, but you play him. You draft him in the 3rd round, you play him in April and May.
With the fastball velocity down from 97.5 to 95.7, the down in the velocity, that makes me say that he's hurt immediately. That's what you think of and what you go to, but it doesn't have to be that. So I don't know what to do with him. He's actually in my lineup, all of them, because I pretty much own him on every team. Luis Castillo. I spent a lot of money on pitchers that I thought were really good. And
who are you going to replace him with?
I think you have to ride with him for. Yeah,
it's just one of those guys that if you draft somebody in the first 3 or 4 rounds,
you got too much invested.
Okay, Michael Conforto. We have a situation in the Mets with the fact that they didn't start the season on time. Really, they played a lot less games than most other teams.
Their fault, but you're right.
And hopefully they will make up for that soon. But because of that, I feel like and Washington too, there's like Josh Bell and Michael Conforto and these other players that just aren't getting it done. Michael Conforto just hit his first home run the other day, just a couple days ago, but he's literally batting .214 overall. He has 4 RBIs on the season, and he has been a nightmare. Do you bench him and play somebody like, I don't know, AJ Pollock? Do you bench Conforto for a league average player?
I don't think for a league average player, but if you had the opportunity to pick up somebody who was not supposed to be as good as he is right now, but is playing well, like a Cedric Mullins, I could see doing that. He's, for a week, because who cares? You're getting the bad numbers out there. I own Lourdes Gurriel as another guy on your list like that.
Yeah.
And I've benched him for players like who are just okay, like Cedric Mullins, like Akil Baddoo. And it's like, I'll wait and it'll come around. I believe it'll come around eventually. And you just the guys you drafted for a reason. The guys you drafted in your first 10 rounds are the core of your team. Unless there's like a 60-day DL stint or the guy sent to the minors, you got to kind of stick with them at some level.
Okay, here's what RotoWire talked about Gurriel going in the season. That he was able to get his strikeout rate down to 21.4%. He ranked in the top 10 of the league in hard hit rate. Okay. And he was just excellent, like all around, because he was in the top for power and batting average, like combined, the combination of both. He just had a glowing review. We watched his statistics go and get progressively better. So I think that Lourdes Gurriel is absolutely one of those. He's been on my bench for a week now, and I will continue to bench him until he starts hitting, which I hope he does soon. But there's actually players that are losing playing time right now, and you have to make a decision not just to like, are they hitting bad, but are they losing playing time because of it? So a guy that's actually hitting bad but is still going to actually get at bats, that's a lot better than a guy that's losing playing time. And a couple of those people that are losing playing time, number one, Dansby Swanson.
Really?
Everybody said Dansby Swanson was going to be great this year. I have Derek Hardy is our friend, and I totally trust his rankings. The bat loves Dansby Swanson, talks about his hard ability to hit the ball really hard. He is horrible. Like, he's horrible.
I mean, I just go through bad.
He hit a home run tonight. That helps.
Of course he did.
Hasn't he started every game this year?
He's losing playing time.
So who?
Hold on a second. I'll tell you.
Because they really don't have their plan is their backup shortstop is Ozzie Albies, who's also playing horribly.
They'd move 8
higher over to second. That would be the backup if they were to give him a day off, but they haven't given him a day off this year because they don't have it. That's part of the reason why they picked up. That's part of the reason why they picked up Orlando Arcia.
Maybe I'm lying. I think I might be lying about him. Hold on a minute. I think I am lying. I'm sorry I interrupted you to tell you that I'm lying.
But no, it's not that you're lying. It's you made a mistake. Mistakes happen.
There's a chart at RotoWire. The chart is called Playing Time Changes, and it shows you the the players that are getting more playing time and the players that are losing playing time. But it's so early in the season that I should not be relying on this too much right now because
Dansby Swansea lost playing time because he had two seven-inning games yesterday.
He lost six at bats.
He lost 3 of them in the double headers.
14,
at least 2 of them.
Right. So it's hard to tell with that. But I have to say he deserves to lose playing time. And if he's not, then he's the –
They don't have anybody. That's the thing. So they really don't have anybody.
That's the thing. Okay, so another guy on the list that's getting playing time is Kirilloff. Alex Kirilloff was called up, Minnesota, and Nico Horner. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Kirilloff's still looking for his first hit, from what I understand.
That's right.
He's going to get playing time, though. So
he got a hit today. He got a hit today.
They are so heavenly.
He just came up for crying out loud.
They let Eddie Rosario go, a guy that hits 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, so they could make room for Kirilloff. And you're right. He's yet to get a base hit.
That's only 15 at bats.
He just got here for crying out loud. What are you going to get out of him when he is getting playing time? What do you
think? Eric Hosmer numbers. That's what you have to think.
His one hit was a double. First hit of his career.
When did you get that, tonight?
Yeah, tonight in the 4th inning.
Okay.
I mean, that's positive signs. A double, not a single.
I mean, the kid is what, the number 14. When you're number 14 on the top 100 list, somebody thinks you're going to make a contribution.
Travis d'Arnaud in Atlanta, dude, the catcher of the day. He had 15 at bats 6 games ago. The last 3 days, he's had 2 at bats. He's been horrible too. So I noticed, like, as a catcher, do you go out and pick up Dom Nunez because the Colorado Rockies are starting to really like him?
No.
Look, almost nobody is hitting. That's one of my topics.
Well,
change the baseball.
Especially the Braves.
Very few people are hitting what we expect this year. And there's a problem out there. The people don't want to go to watch people, hitting ground balls to third base and striking out and hitting pop flies and whatnot. The people that go to games want to see some doubles and triples, home runs.
I go there to drink beer and eat food, so that's why I go there.
You know what? That works for me too.
Malpal, what's up? What do you think, dude? I want to get you involved.
I think that talking about benching any of these guys, you are 1 or 2 games away from these guys gaining 30, 40 points on their average. So I'm not in the.
But how about a guy that actually has a playing time issue, like your Padres Tommy Pham? What would you do with him?
Yeah, the playing time issues.
Yeah,
Tommy Pham, why does he's hurt?
No, he sort of dropped down in the pecking order below Profar.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'd probably sit Pham just because he's hurt again. So,
are you ready to talk closer? So sorry, dude. That's fucking rude as shit. Sorry. Oh wait. All right.
Going to Pham, I think Pham's a legitimate question. I think he's going to be cut playing time if he doesn't produce. Sure.
But he hasn't really been given a chance. Shouldn't he already have playing time? You would think he would be above Profar on the pecking order. Why? What do you think is going up with that?
Well, I think that Pham's hitting like 149, like a lot of these other guys are. We should look him up. He's really doing poorly.
Okay. Let's get in some closing.
Pham's coming off a terrible injury.
He's hitting 169 with no home runs.
And he can't see, too.
A 489 OPS. Ooh.
He's got a problem. Okay. Closer time? I put in the closer stats in the rundown, but Mitchell said we'd give closer updates. Let's go ahead and start with let's start with Cincinnati. Lucas Sims seems to be that Amir Garrett is not getting it done. Right. TJ Antone is also in that bullpen. I really think that he should be in the rotation before too long. I thought he would be in the rotation to start the season, but then he got hurt. Who do you guys think is going to get more saves out of in Cincinnati? Is it going to be Doolittle, Sims, or Garrett, or a combination of the 3?
Doolittle.
Could
of
be.
Those 3, Doolittle, Sims, Garrett. I think of those three, it'll be Garrett, but I actually do think that Antone's going to be their closer.
You do? Interesting.
I mean, the big thing is that he pitched so well in relief last year. He could be a very down. He could be faced with one of those things like where Chapman was with the Reds. Remember, like they were thinking like they wanted to be a starter, but he could be a fantastic closer. But the big thing is that they've had a couple of pitchers that they didn't expect much of on their starting pitching staff, namely Jeff Hoffman and that Jose De Leon pitched well enough that they aren't as concerned about the back end of their bullpen as they were. Sorry, the back end of the rotation as they were before the season started.
Right, totally. And I think
they've been okay enough.
They're going to stretch him out because I'm sure that they feel like they're going to put Antone into the rotation before the end of the season. But if you think he's better closing, I don't know. Here's what I know.
I think he could be like Aroldis Chapman is probably going to be a Hall of Famer as a closer. If he had stayed at pitcher, he would have been just a pretty good pitcher.
He only has like one pitch, so he has to be a closer. That's just he has to.
He's developed a new one. He's unhittable this year.
Yeah, he's got a
new pitch.
He's got a splitter that is really rough.
The Yankees bullpen is, I mean, on paper it doesn't look as good as it has in the recent past, but it's on fire right now. It's absolutely on fire. So,
and you have a bulletin on closers.
Okay.
I mean, you're a Red Sox fan. Remember when the Red Sox drafted Papelbon to be this great starter, and he like took one for the team, so I'll go to the bullpen.
Yeah.
It's like I think that it's better for the Reds. It's better for Antone's career for him to be a literally great closer. Like he's got the stuff to be super elite there.
Yeah, I agree. Josh Staumont, Staumont is now the Kansas City closer.
Do you believe that just because he got 2 days in a row?
I just told you, 2 days in a row. And Holland pitched the 8th. That's a dead giveaway.
But what it's I don't know.
No, I think that's a signal. Like if you're speculating on closers, Staumont is the guy you want to speculate on now. But I'm not as certain as you are about it because if you watch their closer usage throughout the year, it's been, people joke about it being a closer carousel. They literally haven't used the same guy twice in a row this year until Staumont twice.
I thought Staumont got another 2 saves this weekend.
Yeah, no, he got his first 2 saves this weekend.
Right.
And back-to-back, which that's the unique thing is that he got him back-to-back.
Well, and they had Holland in there. If Holland was being rested, I get that, okay?
But, I mean, Barlow's –
Holland pitched in the 8th inning.
I think they have 5 guys that have saves.
Okay.
That's how up in the air that one is.
Okay.
There's so many save situations. Don't they have like 5 guys that got saves already?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like I know Barlow has a save, Holland has a save, Davis has a save. I know that Staumont didn't have a save until 2 days ago. He was the one guy on the – who are we forgetting? Oh, we're forgetting the guy that's injured. There's somebody who's not playing anymore.
Okay. Well, okay. So then, Mitchell, which other team do you want to talk about for the closers? Which ones? You have Arizona, Toronto.
Seattle. I know. Lenny keeps saying Kenyon Middleton. No, I'm not picking on Lenny because I like Middleton.
He's not.
But every time I look at Seattle, they keep rolling Montero back out there, no matter how bad he is.
Kendall Graveman is a closer.
Who?
Kendall Graveman.
I mean, if you talk to their manager, they still talk about it a committee. They did roll Montero out once this week, and I think he converted that one. But I think Graveman's the better pitcher, and we'll get more of them. But I think you have to get used to the fact that there's going to be a bit of a shared situation.
Absolutely, it's good. I think it will be too.
In almost so many places. Like I picked up Ian Kennedy in one league to be a closer, and I'm looking at him going, that guy's rock solid as closer. Because there's nobody else in their bullpen that has an ERA under 7.
He's got 4.
That works out.
He's got 4 saves already.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I have one of the better closers from this crappy dude.
Yeah, right. So Toronto, this is an interesting situation because you have Jordan Romano. First you drafted, wasn't it?
First you drafted the guy Yates. Yates went his go away.
Kirby, that's who. Then it was Jordan Romano. Right? And then Merriweather, right? Now
Then Merriweather got hurt, which brought you back to Romano for a day. Then Romano got hurt.
What a nightmare in Toronto.
And then it became Dolis, and now Romano's back, and you got to decide which one you want or both.
Okay, who do you guys? Well, okay,
how long is Merriweather out?
His injury is supposed to be like 2 to 4 weeks, like enough to notice.
It's 6 weeks, I think. His Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. 2 to 4 weeks. He's out for at least another month, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Toronto. There was just an update just on one of them. Hold on a second. I'll tell you which one it was. But keep talking while I go look this up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how like I changed my opinion based on which one I have. It's like I wound up getting a DeLeese in a league, and so DeLeese pitched for the Cubs when he was younger, and he was not a good pitcher. He was one of those guys that like threw 97 and just didn't have a lot of control. But he actually has changed the way that he's pitched. I have notes on that somewhere. I'll find that out. But the interesting was like this week, the usage was there was a game where they brought him in the 8th inning to face JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts, the middle of the lineup, allowing somebody else to get the save. And then in the game, his last save, he actually pitched a 4-out save. Like they decided that they was going to bring him back in and pitch the whole way through. There's an awful lot of trust in DeLeese more than in the other guys. I don't believe for a second that Romano can't build that trust, or I don't know where Merriweather stands once he returns. But in Romano's first return to the game, he got lit up, which works in DeLeese's favor. So right now, I would bet over the next month that DeLeese will get more saves than Romano, but it wouldn't, what is it, 5-3, 6-4, 6-3, something like that? Not by a dominating amount.
Romano's coming back this week.
He's already back.
Yeah, he's back. So, but Merriweather's not coming back soon. So it's DeLeese and it's
Romano.
It sucks because you give these pitchers a chance to close out games. So like if somebody goes on the injured list, whatever, and then so-and-so takes over, so-and-so gets a chance now to keep that job for the most part, unless it's a guy that you're paying a whole lot of money to or whatever. But if it's just some like random fill-in guy, replacement pitcher, and
none of these guys are making money over there.
Right. So Toronto's a situation that I don't even know, dude, what to say, except for the fact that I'm not going to even like be trying to spend any money on any of these guys for real. And like pretty much every team that's on Mitchell's list for the closer situation have recently had changes or just are closer by committee apparent. Like but Baltimore is not. I think Cleveland is going to be a closer by committee. Cleveland. What everybody went and said, oh, Karinchak struck out all of these batters. He was so good. He's the closer.
Well, that's good.
But Terry Francona is known for having closers. He has not ever in his entire career been a guy that was like closer by committee.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Emmanuel Clase, though, has more saves than the other two, and Karinchak and Nick Whitgren. But if you have Karinchak, what do? Do you just accept the fact that he is not going to get as many saves as you thought he was? Because
yes. Clase is probably going to be the closer.
But I think that Karinchak is a good enough pitcher that he, even without the saves, he could give you the whip in the ERA. And if you throw in the fact that we're always talking about the second guy in the bullpen will grab you 3 or 4 saves a year, he might grab 8 or 10, which would make him all the more valuable.
I'm sorry, he's not valuable in a saves league if he doesn't get saves. He's not valuable for what – I mean, I would rather have Michael Givens if he was a closer than a guy that was a closer by committee, you know?
On the pitching side, you can – by having some pitchers that get you – and like I'm saying, like when you have 3 saves, there's a problem. You ever see those
10 is a problem too. Don't you think? No.
I mean, right now, how many pitchers are on pace to have 20 saves? Because they're about 13.
Jake McGee.
How in the world do you even have a pace for that right now?
Well, because if you looked at certain places like Toronto, you would say that at the end of the year, this guy will have 11, this guy will have 13, this guy will have 8. If you looked at the Royals, you'd go, they're going to have 5 guys with 6 saves. You know, if you look, that's the way a lot of these teams are working out at this point. So 8 to 10 saves, I think, is going to have more meaning than it would have in previous years.
There's so many 8 to 10 saves, though, then you won't even really have to draft a closer. You could just get 8 to 10 saves from anybody, which could be the way we're headed.
Not from just anybody. From Karinchak, those kind of guys.
Karinchak was drafted as the number 2 closer, and so anybody made.
Yeah, I mean, he was high even on my list, but I don't know how you could have him higher than 6.
But in Baltimore, they have Cesar Valdez. I think he's the closer. They don't get a lot of save opportunities, and
Hunter,
much like Ian Kennedy, I'm happy to have Cesar Valdez.
When Hunter Harvey comes back, he'll probably.
He's on a 60-day.
I just dumped Ian Kennedy for Cesar Valdez. Literally,
You did what?
I put Ian Kennedy on my bench for Cesar
It's apples
Valdez.
for apples. They're similar in my mind.
Valdez is done well. I won't take it away from him. He's a 35-year-old wonder.
Yeah, fine. I don't care.
I love it.
Totally.
I love
But people should know how old he is because, you know, when they see his name, it's like,
I think Juan Soto's 35 too.
What?
Oh, yeah. If that guy's 22 years old, I'm the Pope.
Hold on. You just said Juan Soto? No.
Juan Soto's 35 years old.
No, you're thinking of somebody else. He's 23 or something, 24.
Yeah.
He's 35 years old. I don't care what he tells you his age is. Look at
you're saying he's lying about his age. Okay.
People from the Dominican Republic.
He has no wrinkles, dude. He has no pot belly. He's nothing. He's 23. Right? You could tell 35 from 23. You just can't. You would have to have the best skin ever.
Okay, I take it back. He's only 30.
I know. I could buy on almost. I could buy on almost anybody that he's off by 1 or 2 years, but that much. You know, if you told me he wasn't 23, he was 24. Yeah, almost anybody from a Latin American country, especially the ones in the islands, you go, yeah, they do that stuff all the time. But no one's going to pass for 10 years difference.
Okay, hold on. Speaking of older players, Miguel Cabrera has reached base 3 times tonight. Even though the Detroit Tigers won, he's back. I just, whenever I think of Miggy, I think of Albert Pujols. I kind of like just put them in the same boat because I think they're just like such great veterans, right?
Do you know how good Detroit's pitching has been this year?
Horrible, right?
No,
it's been pretty.
Au contraire.
No. It's been all right.
They're starting.
They have Tarek Skubal.
Their pitching has been pretty good.
It's been better than expected for sure.
Boyd is pitching well.
I'm going to go around the table, and I want you guys to each just say yes or no. Would you be willing to? Right now, I have Albert Pujols. I picked him up yesterday on several leagues. He's active in my roster, replacing guys like Lourdes Gurriel because he's actually. I've never seen him in better shape, to be honest with you. But
Pujols is amazing.
Are you guys like? How do you think of him? Like, not just because of what I say, but just in drafts and stuff like that. Do you just never even consider drafting these guys or putting them on your team, Malpal? That's not a yes or no, is it? But, answer it how you
want.
Who you're asking it?
Yes.
Yes.
Depends where you're drafting them, right?
Well, I mean, Pujols. Assume you're getting Pujols in the last 3 rounds.
If you picked him up for $1 yesterday, or a couple dollars, will you look at your
league, I'd be disappointed to have to play him in a mixed league.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way. But
how about this? Not draft, but
to
pick him up to replace a player when everybody's spending like $25 on a guy that is hitting good this week or has had a really great couple of days.
Adonis Garcia of Texas.
Right.
I would take Pujols over him.
For $1. That's how I look at it too. Totally.
He went for like $15 fab money.
I actually got him too.
I love Pujols.
What's the
as
choice?
a baseball fan. I love Miguel Cabrera as a baseball fan. I find him hard to roster in any other AL only leagues. There's just a lot of other players out there that it's this question. Like the way I look at structuring my players is that the first guys that you draft are the guys that you expect to be great and are great, right? And then you get to that middle, or at least then you get to that middle part, and then you have guys that are known entities versus guys that could be better. And I would rather take Jared Walsh than Albert Pujols because if they're both bad, they're about the same. But if they're both good, the best I could expect from Pujols is less than what I could expect from Walsh. And there's just a lot of players along those lines.
Yeah,
now, there's fewer today than there were before, but
I'm talking about you can't draft Walsh and Pujols or put them even in the same conversation. Walsh is getting drafted like in the middle rounds, and Pujols is not getting drafted at all.
I mean, I'll give other names.
Who you replacing?
Let's not talk
Bobby
about the draft. How about instead of the draft, let's talk about waiver wires. When you have to replace a guy that's doing crappy, like I had to bench Charlie Blackmon this week. I wanted to bench a bunch of players, but I'm willing to pick up and put a guy in that's hitting well for the moment, and I would rather spend $1 on. So, would you rather spend $25 on Adolis Garcia, or would you rather spend $1 on Pujols to fill in until these other?
In my one fab league that's 15 teams deep, I bid $50 on Adolis Garcia. Did not get me. Went for 133. Poulos is still in the cut pile on no team.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally agree with you. Mitchell, you like them. I know you do because you like veterans. You like risk-averse players, right?
Yeah, Wainwright's 5.2 innings tonight, 3 innings, no runs, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts.
I've already dropped Wainwright twice.
Wainwright's got a 2-star week this week. Yep.
Why'd you drop him?
Because of the first outing that he had, which was
that's my bad. I'm not criticizing you, Andy.
No, I know.
I had to learn to be more patient.
This week
killed me, huh?
I was saying this weekend I spent a quarter of my FAB budget buying 3 players back that I had dropped earlier in the year.
I heard you say that on your show.
It's so
famous.
bad.
I'm famous
so
for that.
The big 2 were Nico Horner and Domingo Germán, and then other guys.
So you went out and picked up Germán again?
Okay,
yep.
with Germán, you know that he has 2. Obviously, you know he has 2 starts this week. That's probably why you did it. But
no, they're going 6. I heard they were going with a 6-man rotation, bringing Davey up for a game.
Not surprised at all. But what about the fact that when you drop players, and this is 2 out of 4 people in this roundtable that have dropped and picked up players numerous times already, and it's only like the 4th week. So,
I think Mitch listened to my show. That's the ring. I looked up that best ball league where I'm not allowed to drop people. I'm in first place because I just let people stay. I think I need to stay in those things. You look at something like, I drafted Johnny Cueto in his first game. He looked relatively average.
I know, but then I picked him up.
And then I dropped him, and then he had that game where he threw 8 2/3. There was something I saw in the preseason I liked about him. I didn't have him on the team. I went to go buy him back. Somebody bought him for $189. Now I'm happy that I got somebody to spend $189 on him, and now that he's injured on somebody else's team. But he's a good enough player, and I drafted him, of course, in the 29th round.
Right.
That's the thing that goes around. I let Nico Horner go, and that's the one that cost me to get back.
Well, we're just having fun here.
I don't know what you're going to get out of Nico Horner, so I hope you didn't spend all your money on him. He's not going to get very flashy stats,
Taylor Rogers.
When he has played.
Did you hear me?
Taylor Rogers.
Taylor Rogers is beating Corbin Burns tonight.
But 1-0. Yeah, that's a hell of a game.
Corbin's been great. What do you think, Corbin? He got in trouble for substances,
The Burns struck out 9 batters in 5 innings. Other than that, he's stunk.
Right.
When Nico Horner covered,
that guy is terrific.
People don't think that Nico Horner can hit for anything but average, but they put him at the top of the lineup. When he covered for Baez in 2019, he got about 80 at bats. He hit at age 22. He had 1 double, 1 triple, 3 home runs. And I'm not saying you can extrapolate that straight out thing, but I'm expecting a guy who's going to steal about 10 bases, who's going to be depending on 10 lineups. He's going to get runs, and he's probably going to hit 10 home runs. And there's real value for that. I do also think that he's going to hit like 30 doubles or 28 doubles, so a good amount of the other stuff. He is the one guy on the team that you can if you were going to play a game like that beat the streak, and you had to pick one guy on the Cubs to get a base hit today, the one guy that you would pick would be Nico Horner. Everyone else has the capacity on the team to go 0 for 12. It's a team, and it's my favorite team. They just have a lot of swing and miss, a lot of bad days, and then just when you're really pissed off, they'll beat a team 15-4 and help you out that way. But he's the guy that they need. He's, the Cubs won in 2016 because they had a couple of guys that were consistent, and he's the guy that's consistent. He's going to play the rest of the way out. He's probably going to score, this is the high end stuff. I would say he'd hit like 13. Oh, and that's the other thing. He did that. He changed the way he batted. He's changed his approach at the plate because there were people saying that he didn't hit enough for power. And in the preseason this year, in the spring training, I believe he hit 2 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs in spring training. There's a lot to like about this kid. And if you're in a league where 450 people are being drafted, there hasn't been a player this good available on the wire this year, and I don't know how many will come along, because almost everybody, everyone says, well, Klenick's coming, somebody's got him. Franco's coming, somebody's got him. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way those leagues are. So why not spend the 150 to get the guy back? because I don't think I can spend $150 better this year. And I do believe he's going to be a top 10 second baseman. Definitely will be a top 10 second baseman if you prorate for when he plays.
Okay.
Can we talk about Bumgarner's no-hitter?
Yes. That's the biggest debate going on in baseball right now, and fantasy for sure.
It's not a no-hitter.
Why? He pitched every inning of the game.
Let me just say that he had a complete game, right? If he pitched a complete game and there were no hits, then he pitched a no-hitter. That's how I see it.
You have to create a new category of no-hitters that are asterisk, and there's
no. We're all of a certain age here. When you were a kid, you were looking through record books, and you read about the most famous player in history of baseball, Babe Ruth, yelling at an umpire and get kicked out after walking a batter, and Ernie Shore coming in. And all your record books when you were a kid said that was a perfect game, and it was a no-hitter in a perfect game because that's the way the rule was. For some unknown reason, they changed the rule in 1991 to say that these other things can't be no-hitters. Why did they do that? Why did they do that?
Do you remember Harvey Haddock's 12-inning perfect game?
Yeah, it's not anymore. It wasn't until 1991.
I listened to that game.
Wait, so now it's not?
Yeah, they changed.
Harvey Haddock, they lost the game. As I recall, they lost. I think Harvey Haddock was the Pirates or Braves. The game with Joe Adcock. Oh no, it must have been the Pirates, but Joe Adcock hit a home run. He didn't. I don't think he got credit for a perfect game. The game was not won. The game.
No, he did get credit at the time. They just changed the rule in 1991 for some unknown reason. You used to be able to have like multi-pitcher no-hitters too. There were like 4 of those that were in the record books. They just changed the rule in 1981, and I don't really understand why they felt the need to do that.
Well, I'm not going to lose a minute of sleep over.
Yeah, it's a weird debate.
Baseball fans are notorious fans of records and maintaining integrity.
Why do they get a complete game though? If they get a complete game officially, so if they get to pitch a complete game and nobody got a hit, then why? I don't understand why one and the other is not.
I understand. There's no easy answer to that.
So the easy answer is to say either you get a complete game and a no-hitter, or you get neither a complete game or a no-hitter. So
I wonder how the DFS sites treated it, because like I know on DraftKings you get like an extra bonus if they throw a no-hitter.
DFS? That'd be a nightmare.
I don't think they do. I don't think they would get it. I've been horrible at DFS so far this year. I will keep trying.
I don't do DFS. I'm a sore winner.
I only play with the money I have left over in those places. It's a very small amount.
Yeah.
It's a horrible game and it's bad gambling.
My grandsons are so into this. My grandson keeps texting me and wanting to know whether he should start, Rendon tonight. I don't want to tell a kid.
The point being that
can't wait if I tell him that to start Rendon and he goes off, he likes me. If I tell him to start Rendon and he strikes out 4 times, he hates me.
Okay, how about this? Just buy him a video game and he'll like you anyway. It doesn't matter who you tell him.
That seems reasonable. If you told me to start Rendon and he struck out 4 times, I wouldn't like you.
Hey, listen, Mitchell, just buy him a video game and he will like you.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, I don't know how old he is, so maybe that doesn't really work.
Yeah, he's 18. He can legally gamble, I think.
Okay.
We have legal betting in Virginia. It's on a TV set 24 hours a day, FanDuel.
Really?
Oh yeah.
FanDuel's on TV.
DraftKings has slots.
Advertisements 24 hours a day.
Oh. Yeah, we have poker rooms here in Florida. That's why I don't play DFS much, because there's better gambling out there. My problem with DFS is the rake is off the chart. It's like you pay 20%. If I were to go call a bookie, like the most corrupt bookie on the planet, and bet $100 on a football game, that guy would make me pay if I lost $110. That's 10% on the losing side, and he would make me pay nothing if I won. Right? It's like I put 100, they put 100. There's 200 online. If you and I play DFS, and you put in your 100 and I put in my 100, right? How much do you win? You win $190, right? You win. So they take a full 10% of your winnings, and it's actually a higher cut if you're betting at the $5 and $10 rate. It comes out to 20%. It's like those are casino. Like if you went to a casino that charged that at blackjack, that casino, no one would go there. They'd go to the place across the street that charged a reasonable amount. They get away with it because they're the only game in town in 38 states, you know, and they're going to make money at it.
Yeah.
It's like bet somewhere else. Now, if you just want to have fun at it once in a while, it's an interesting thing, but you're much better going to play poker somewhere, you know, but you don't have that option.
Okay, guys, what else? Do you have anything else? I'm good.
No, I have a question.
Okay.
You have on your chart a list of top PX contact rates over 75. Refresh my memory. What is PX?
Power. That's out of the baseball forecaster. It's power and batting average together. That's why I talked about Dansby Swanson. He's got, I mean, going into this season, there was a lot of underlying statistics that said that Dansby Swanson is going to be a very good hitter. It's like with the fact that he's got a lot of power and that he has good plate discipline. It's just a great thing. Lourdes Gurriel is on that list too. Both of those.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list and it shows Max Kepler with a higher contact percent than Juan Soto. I'm just having trouble believing that.
It's not just contact though, right? It's power plus contact.
Well, it's.
I thought he was first, Juan Soto.
He is first. It's contact and PX. You're right. But under contact percent, Soto is 78 and Kepler is 80.
Because he's got that's all about the contact rate, you know.
Alex Dickerson is 79. You mean to tell me Alex Dickerson's contact rate's better than Soto?
He doesn't have enough at bats though to really make it matter that much.
That's why. That's how it gets distorted. Okay, you just answered the question.
I don't think he does. Okay,
sample size. No, you gave a good answer. That's the answer.
I do like this list though. Lourdes Gurriel is on here, and Dansby Swanson too somewhere. I don't see him here now, but maybe he's on a different list.
You know, I went through Lourdes Gurriel's stuff because I wanted to look at a narrative that would work out, and it looks like he's, you know, like you look at all the stats, you go, what's the story that makes the most sense, right? And if you look at it, it looks at there's a lot of things about him that have changed. Now, when I say this, you're talking about when I say something like, where is this here? That like his O swing is up 4%. That's like 3 more swings for the year, right?
Now, yes.
Yeah, it's not that many, but he's swinging at more balls out of the strike zone. He's swinging at more balls in the strike zone. He's swinging at more pitches. Period. He's actually his swinging strike rate is up 2 points. He's swinging at the first pitch 4% more times. It's like he's doing all these things. To me, it feels like it looks like he's a guy that is pressing and just needs a break of some sort. You know, that's what it looks like. Now, I actually think that a simpler answer is he possibly got COVID and we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
He got a test that said he passed when Teoscar got a test that said he didn't pass, and there's no benefit of them doing a follow-up test. They did that quick test that is a 30% fail rate. He might just be sick because everything he's doing is like he's swinging at more pitches, but when he hits the ball, he's hitting it softer. There's a weakness to him that I think will dissipate somewhere in the line. Admittedly, you got to deal with the fact that you had a bad month and you're probably gonna have a bad.
Are you talking about Gurriel, dude?
Talking about Gurriel. That's the simplest answer. Is that he was?
No.
I think.
No, I know the answer. He did have COVID stuff. He
did. Yeah.
He dealt with the vaccine first.
No, but I'm saying that his vaccine. He got a test to see if he had COVID, which he passed. There's a 30% fail rate on that. Maybe he had COVID.
There's no possible way that if he took a test and had COVID that it would come back negative. It will only come back positive if it is totally.
There are more false negatives than there aren't really that many false positives. There are a lot of people that take the test and they get negatives. All through all of sports, people are coming up negative, and there's no reason to get a second test. But it would explain the general weakness that he has. He's hitting the ball softer.
There's something wrong. You are right.
Yeah, there's something wrong. I mean, all right, whatever it is, it's like Occam's razor says it's COVID. Let's say it's something else. It's showing that there's something wrong with him physically. That's what it is.
He got the vaccine and then he went on the DL the next day.
Well, that's
came back the day after.
You can have terrible.
He missed one day.
Some people do.
Right.
He's actually. I mean, Gurriel's he's actually played every game this year except for the day with the day on the IL. And then he took the day off the day after the double header. He's played almost all the games.
Yeah, and he was horrible before the vaccine, and he's horrible now.
And But you're sitting there on the same team. You got Teoscar Hernandez, who, you know, at the moment that he went on the IL, but he failed that test, so they say he had COVID.
Has he played at all this year, Doug?
Well, he tested positive for COVID.
Has he played? I haven't seen him in a lineup all year.
He's not.
No, he played like the first 4 games of the season.
He's not hitting now. He's going to come back soon. They say
he's supposed to be nearly back.
Right.
So that's the difference. It's a tale of two cities.
That Toronto lineup, if they get Springer and get Gurriel going.
Can you imagine how good it's going to be?
They get Biggio going. They have as good a hitting lineup as any team in baseball.
For sure, no question, dude. It's going to be so good to watch.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be that. Keep Gurriel, but maybe bench him.
Can I ask a question while we're just having fun?
Sure. Okay. Are we having fun?
I picked up Nate Pearson on the cheap. He's doing side sessions. He's due back May 15th.
Really?
Yeah. I know there was a lot of helium with Nate Pearson, but he can still throw the ball 100 miles an hour. Now, I don't know about his command, but he is supposedly going to roll right into the Blue Jays rotation when he comes back.
Do you remember all the hype on him last year going into the season?
Yeah, a lot of hype over nothing.
But you can't see anything in his minor league stats to tell you that all the hype was deserved, but he, you know, the kind of same thing that's going on with Ian Anderson. But you see, I'm not saying that Ian Anderson is going to be disappointing because he's obviously already better than Nate Pearson. But Nate Pearson, I think, is a great pitcher to watch out for because he does still have the same talent that he had last year, just that it does take a little bit longer than we expect and that we want it to take usually. It takes more time.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. That's a long time to hold him. If you have an injured spot for him, I guess
you're talking dynasty, right?
I'm in a keeper league. I said, he's due back the 15th. I because of pitching being so short, I have been short of hoarding pitchers.
I
don't get how he's available in the first place because he was healthy.
He's available.
Well, he didn't do well last year, I guess.
Because he wasn't pitching, Andrea. He's been on the IL. We don't have any rule against drafting somebody on the IL. I mean,
but last year going into the season, somebody would have had him on their keeper team and would have kept him probably.
I had him as a keeper and didn't keep him.
Okay.
Because he was $15.
The cost. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
All right. Anything else?
Is this a mixed league?
A mixed league.
That's a mixed
league.
To be honest, in a redraft, I have no interest in Pearson really, unless it's 15 team, huge, deep league.
I'd
rather go with a guy like Ryan Weathers or someone like that.
I'm going to look at the chat room and see if anything happened in here.
Yeah, Weathers is going to be good, I think. But I got Domingo Germán yesterday over Weathers. And that's because I couldn't get it out of my head that Domingo Germán won 18 games a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's what I keep.
And I think Weathers in the rotation, when and if Lamet comes back, Weathers is not going to be in the rotation.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's one comment from Matt Hooper says Chapman Hall of Fame. Really, it's like ever since when I was growing up, it was hard to get in the Hall of Fame as a relief pitcher, but it hasn't been that hard recently.
Right.
You know, and as a matter of fact, they gave somebody 100% vote one of the relief pitchers. So if you take what Chapman's numbers are they're going to wind up better than guys like Fingers and Suter, and it's so he's probably Hall of Famer. Kimbrel's probably Hall of Famer too, but if not, they're going to be the guy like Billy Wagner where you're going like, look at those numbers, they were so good, they ought to be in there. Yeah. But either way you slice it, Chapman is a guy that's going to be that as a closer, because now apparently they judge closing as its own position. It's hard for you to say that that Chapman isn't one of the 10 or 12 best all time.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, if you want to say something, I'm going through the notes in here to see if we missed
chat room, Andrea. Somebody brought that up in the chat room.
No, good. It's good to keep an eye on the chat room. I'm just telling you that AJ Pollock, see, this is a guy where it comes and you run into playing time issues, even though he's getting paid a lot of money, more money than he should be to be sitting on the bench, but he is still on the bench. So I just noticed that in the news. I'm like reading the news right now, and I see that Freddie Galvis left the game with hip soreness. I don't know how many. I think Freddie Galvis is pretty much own in every league, right? Or maybe
Dodgers are playing Matt Beatty and Rayleigh and Noise.
Noisy.
McKinstry, they're like a AAA team.
I know. McKinstry's down, gone back to the alternate training site. Okay. And Cueto's not coming back until May 9th. I just found out.
Who?
Ouch. Johnny Cueto.
Albert Pujols just hit a home run, which was good. That brings him from 666 to 67 lifetime.
I love
Some people don't like the 666 number, so
I'm telling you, look at him. You guys take a look at him, okay? He's looking great.
He has earned his contract. I don't like
Good night.
Good night, Malpal.
Good night, Malpal.
I don't like long-term contracts, but he's earned it, and so has Scherzer. He has earned his.
Who else has done this year, right? Yeah.
Huh?
Wait, are you leaving because you said good night? Were you just saying he had a good night?
I said Poole. I said Poole also had a good night. But if you,
we thought you were kidding.
If you want me to go,
just like out of here.
Want me to go? That's fine.
No, I don't. No, that's too funny though. Okay.
I'm okay. It's a good session. I think we can.
Like I have one thing I thought was interesting. It was something I saw on TV today, baseball wise. They were talking about Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff being like the best 1-2 in all of baseball, and they're saying like what's out there that competes that. And the interesting thing was that in the top 5 1-2s in baseball, they picked 2 sets of 1-2s from the Dodgers. That's how good they are. It's like one of them is Buehler and Urias, and the other one is Kershaw and in that. And it's like that's how good the Dodgers are. They're spending $33 million on a middle relief pitcher in David Price. That's going to be a weird team because there aren't that many there. Because
the Red Sox are still paying a lot of money. I think the Red Sox are still paying a chunk of his money.
Well, whatever it is, I saw a list of like all the players that made more than $30 million this year, and that was kind of I was like, oh wow, yeah, Price is on there, and they're not even doing anything with them.
Well, yeah. I think 2 Dodger players make more money than half the team payrolls in baseball. So you can have Kershaw and their payrolls higher than Baltimore, the 2 of them.
Maybe Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. They're just not spending any money.
It's a matter of concern economically about the parity.
The other part about that statement I made about the 1-2s, there's not a lot of good pitching staffs out there.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to even come with one. Like DeGrom, who do you pair him with? There's nobody really. Yeah. As much as I don't know who else is. But you said that Means is leading the American League in ERA.
That's what
that is wrong. You know who's leading the American League in the ERA?
Who?
Danny Duffy.
Well, it could have changed since I heard.
Yeah, no, it changed because he pitched yesterday.
Because everything changes with every minute right now.
But Danny Duffy has a .39 ERA over 13 innings.
Who saw that coming?
Nobody did.
I watched their opening game and said, that guy looks pretty good, and I did nothing about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, it's just opening day. He's having an adrenaline moment. Right. You know what I mean? Did nothing about it.
All I learned is, Doug, you can't look back. You'll go crazy if you start second guessing yourself.
But you can look back. You can always buy back the guys you cut.
You make a move and you live with it. But
that's why I look back.
You do have me interested in looking at Horner as a possible pickup now. I'll tell you that.
I think. I mean, I'll admit I'm a little bit of a homer because I'm a Cub fan.
That's okay. I get it.
But every time I've seen the guy play, he's looked good. He beats the high test, and the other stuff works out. And he does have the story that he's changed his approach to try to develop more power.
Right.
But the numbers that I quoted you, the spring training numbers and the numbers from 2019 are big league numbers. They're not the minor league stuff.
Lenny calls him a pure hitter. Okay, pure hitter.
I'll tell you this: it's like he has more. He had more home runs in the minor leagues in 2 years than Gleyber Torres had in his entire career with the Cubs in their minors, 7 years. Gleyber Torres had like 5 home runs total. And he hit 37 in the pros. Go, Malpal. Sorry.
That's okay. I said before we end here, I had two notes. Austin Nola will be back this week for all you guys looking spent some money on a catcher in him. And I'm curious, Mitchell, if in that league, that mixed league you're talking about, it seems pretty shallow. Is Jordan Leplo out there, or is he on a team?
Yes, I think he's out there. I think he's available.
He's been hitting like so many home runs. Okay.
He's playing full time. I just think that's an interesting guy. He is playing every day. And
he's really playing versus righties?
Playing against righties. He batted second tonight. I've seen him bat sixth. I have him in an AL league, and it's kind of fun to pick these guys up late and watch.
Yeah, thanks, Mal Powell.
In an only league.
Oh, that's a big change.
But he's playing every day.
Yeah.
George.
He's going to hit 240, but he could hit 25 homers easy.
If he plays, yeah.
I mean, he's historically not been that good at one side of the lineup. Could he be one of those guys actually better if he doesn't play versus those things? Because do all the home runs come versus lefties? Do all the good stuff come versus lefties?
Well,
all the bad
it's
stuff
a great
righties?
It's a great question, but I look at it this way: we got a league batting average of 232.
Yeah, I guess
so far this year, which is the lowest since 2008. Batting average to me,
that's lower than 2008. 232 is
the lowest since then. Yeah,
I think it's the lowest.
It's terrible. And
I thought you were talking about him. I thought you were talking about the league as a whole.
Yeah, I'm talking about the league as a whole. You might be right, but at least since 2008, it's terrible. So the two things on the batting average, to me, this is the year to just take some of these guys. And second of all, it makes a guy. There's a lot of booing going on, about a guy like Nick Madrigal. To me, that guy's worth a ton right now as a second baseman. That's going to hit 310. That guy can move a needle. When you got such lousy batting average, if he can move the needle a point or two just on his own, that could be worth 2 or 3 points. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
He's going to hit 2 homers and knock in 50 runs.
This
year, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
It's like the thing with pitchers when they strike out 330 batters or 300 batters, they're like a couple of standard deviations above the average. If a 300 batting average could be enough of a batting average difference to be worth being able to eat no home runs.
It's so hard to look at because I don't know, we like short term.
It's a complex formula to decide your batting average, and whereas it's easy to go, that guy hit a home run, I got one more. But
But I will say that there's a lot of guys.
I think you need to rewire your brain.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It's just that you don't get a lot of excitement out of players like this because you see them.
Because Madrigal, it's across the board. No one likes Madrigal. I've been trying to get him, and I
like Madrigal.
Tony has him, loves him.
I knew you would, Douglas. I knew you would.
There's a lot of similarities between Madrigal and Horner.
Exactly.
Let's call it a night.
Okay, you guys.
Thank you.
It's been 90 minutes. Thanks everyone for showing up in the. It was nice talking to the three of you.
And the chat room.
Let's see if anybody knew. George, Matt Hooper, Merrill Hardston.
Merrill comes all the time.
You guys have a great.
Merrill always comes and supports his brother Mitchell.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
He comes in to harass me.
I love it. Or maybe he comes to protect you from me.
Maybe that's it.
Emotional support, dude. I love it.
Okay, bye.
Bye, you guys.
Good night, everyone.